There are those of you who are trucking and you went south for the winter. Well, guess what? You're getting hammered today. That and other spot market talk. We will talk about it. Stay tuned. Right after the yes. Good morning. It is a cold, snowy morning. We've gotten like some snow this morning, last night. More than they originally thought, so that's always fun. But most of it went south, so we're gonna cover that. It's so a while back, I was moving some stuff in my pickup truck, and I took so let's go back even further. I know this is a riveting story, but bear with me real quick for a minute. Years ago, someone stole my spare tire that you keep underneath the pickup bed. They took some cable cutters, cut it, boom, they have a wheel now. $20 wheel, right? And since then, I struggled to deal with that. But then recently, about last year, I bought a whole spare tire rim. And of course, I'm that guy that keeps in the back of the pickup. And the earlier, I don't know, this month or last month, I guess, I was moving some stuff with the pickup, so I had to take it out and I left it in the backyard. Why is that an important story? Well, because I left it out there and the snow has got it almost covered. That's how much snow we got. That's the whole point of this story. I don't have a ruler. I'm not going to go out there and go like, dude. I can look at my spare rim that I've left out there and know that it's completely covered. I know that Arkansas got it worse. So we're going to get the weather up here. And then we're going to take a look at Google Maps to kind of see where traffic's already slowing down. If you're in the south, southeast, you're probably going to have a long and bad day. Places like Little Rock, Memphis, pretty much the entire state of Arkansas is covered. I know that there was some footage of like I-40 and I-440. I know that was looking pretty bad. So, the thing about this is if we do this here, if we do load availability on the 123 low board and we do the density map for van, all the areas that are green and yellow that most people run their freight area is pretty much where all the bad weather is. Now, a lot of people decide, hey, I'm going to go south of I-20 and just run that whole corridor for a minute, while the weather subsides up in the northern states. But guess what? You're in it now. If you're on I-10, you're probably okay, but 20, 30, and 40, you're having a bad day. So just kind of keep. How bad can it be? Well, here's Google Maps. A lot of yellow. Yesterday I was watching this between Fort Worth and basically I-35 all the way from Fort Worth all the way up to Oklahoma City was yellow. US 75, as you can see, still isn't cleared out. US 675 and 69. And so basically the eastern half of Oklahoma, and then of course Kansas City to Joplin still bad. Basically, if we zoom in a little bit, like all these roads that, like Harrison, Arkansas, Yellville, Clinton, they're probably not even passable at this point. So, and then of course you can see that I-40 is closed in many places, but basically between Little Rock and Memphis. And then you have I-30. Parts of I-30 are closed to Texarkana. So it's a pretty long Friday afternoon or Friday day. It's not afternoon yet. I'm ahead of myself here. And then all of that's going to go, as you can see, it's going to go all the way to the coast there. So, and these are areas that normally don't see that much snow, and they're talking like inches, but hell, an inch of snow in Alabama or Georgia can cripple the infrastructure, especially if it's cold, because they can't scrape it fast enough, and then it just never thaws out for a minute. So just kind of keep an eye on the weather, because more than likely you're going to have to reschedule some freight. You're going to have some loads that you're scheduled to pick up that you're not going to make it to, or they've canceled the load because there's nobody there to load or unload your truck. So if you're delivering like Walmart, Dollar General, any kind of DC, grocery warehouse, you're probably, you have the potential to have a pretty bad or long day, and you might be sitting on a load for a minute. So just kind of pay attention to that when you're booking your freight. If you're sitting at home, I had a truck that I was dispatching this week. He lives in Georgia, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm going to deliver this load. I'm going home for the weekend." I'm like, "Cool." And that's the thing. So I mean, that's the beauty of self dispatch or hiring somebody like me. If you can call your own shots, then you're good to go, right? You can avoid this. But I would much rather be in Illinois or even Missouri versus Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi during an event like this. I imagine that hill going up 75 in Chattanooga is going to be fun. It's just, if you can avoid the area, and that means Florida rates will tank even more because everybody's going to be down there trying to move freight. so just be aware of what's going on. The purple is winter advisory. The pink is the storm warning. And of course, where I live is in the pink, and that major pink area is going to cause a lot of disruptions. We're already seeing it on Google Maps. So anyways, good morning. Hope all is well. Hope you got yourselves a warm cup of coffee in this cold, wintry landscape. If you're in California, you're also having a bad day. Southern California, of course, everybody's talking about the fires out there, and it's, whether the origin is of nefarious nature or not, it's still a bad situation, and it's going to change the landscape like permanently. And you're talking like thousands upon thousands of homes. I mean, the devastation is pretty brutal, and it's probably going to bank. If you're an insurance agent in California right now, you're having a bad day. You're having a truly bad day, because it's probably going to bankrupt a lot of insurance companies. You're talking like $1 million mansions. I saw a report where David Geffen, of Geffen Records, his old mansion burned up, $85 million mansion. So I mean, you're going to have a lot of that going on. What is that going to do to freight? Well, we'll take a look. We'll see what's coming in and out of California. We'll also take a look what's coming in and out of the South and the lower Midwest to kind of see what's, if we can get some rates out of this. If you know how to drive and the interstates stay open, then you might be able to capitalize on that. But more likely you're going to be sitting, because the snow is going over places where they don't have the infrastructure to clear it, especially when it's as cold as it is. It started snowing last night about 7:00, and it hasn't let up since. So my daughter's car is even buried, and she was the last one to park. She got home about 9:00 last night, and her car is also buried. So it's been snowing pretty good here, but it's a bigger click further south you go from here, which is, those are usually the worst storms, was when we get it from the south, not from the west. Also, I had a couple of friends that were stranded between Denver and Kansas City yesterday. I-70 was jacked up there between those 2 points. Let's see if it still is. Looks like it's cleared up, but yeah, that little strip of Denver between Lyman and Denver was completely shut down. So yeah, they were seeing some bad. Kansas is definitely seeing their share of bad weather. It looks like they're still getting it. So I mean, you're looking at some road traveling hardships, and there you go. All right, so let's remove that for a second. Let's do some shout outs, and then we'll get into some freight. What's the freight doing today? My name is Nobody. Good morning. Charity Sharp, good morning. Desert Okie Pam, good morning. TK, hey now. CDN says, the man, the myth, the legend is hosting an awesome show. Good morning, Mr. Steve. Happy Friday. Well, you better go to that channel, whoever's doing that. So, you're too kind. Gary Cook, good morning. Hope all is well. We're doing all right. Rookie Trucker, good morning, everyone. Just got done with a 1 pick 9 drop. Now picking up a 1 pick 10 drop for the week. Feeling thankful for the journey. There you go. That's how it's done. That's the majority of, I would say that's probably half of what a revenue is for. Well, I mean, that's the majority of the revenue for 3 or 4 of our drivers is doing the multiple stop stuff. So, but nobody wants to do that. So don't hear everybody jump into that, because it's really hard and you don't want to do it. The Rookie Trucker, nobody cares about your drops. Only suckers work that hard. LOL. Old school, new school. I will be on I-94 this weekend from Washington to Wisconsin. Hopefully it will be easy. I think it's actually quiet in the upper north tundra there, so you should be all right. Morning, everyone. Hope everyone is safe. That is absolutely true, Griff. United States Marine Corps, is that what that stands for? Chief Freight Hauler, good morning. Desert Okie Pam picking up south of Lincoln, Nebraska today. Kentucky to Omaha to Phoenix seems to be working out. Good deal. You found the groove. Stay in it. Stay in it for as long as you can. Waiting to see if FEMA offers people in California the same $750 they offered us after Helene. That will be interesting. I saw this satellite footage of the fires, just kind of spontaneous, like 3 of them all at the same time. It was kind of interesting. CDN, the worst part of these natural disasters, fires, hurricanes, etc., many insurance providers will not cover natural disasters. Maybe the state and federal funding will kick in, but many will be broke. That's where the real devastation is that the insurance companies are going to have to reject claiming the claims in order to stay in business. And you're talking like entire towns and neighborhoods leveled in California, and you're looking at thousands upon thousands of homeless people at this moment. You know, I mean, where do you go when even the hotels have burned down, right? I have some friends that were affected by the Joplin tornado, the big one that came through about 11 years ago, and they were able to get to a hotel that that luckily survived the tornado and had some power. They were blessed, but man, it was a lot of people had to come into Springfield and stay with family and friends and all that. So I mean, it's that's the one thing you don't think about in natural disaster. Imagine you got to get out now. You barely have time to even pack a suitcase, and boom, now you're living in your car. So I mean, it's a very devastating situation out there, and it's going to be interesting how that's going to play out for the next for the next few years actually. So we'll see what the government does, if anything. SST, what's up? Good morning. Jose, good morning. Randy, snowball fight. Hollywood Babylon is burning. Yeah, and it's a crazy situation. I was started to watch a Joe Rogan interview with Mel Gibson, and he was saying that his home's probably burned down. A lot of people I follow on Twitter and Facebook, their homes have burned down. There's a list of the famous people that have lost their homes. It's just a very devastating situation out there, and we can point fingers and you know cause and effect and all that, but at the bottom line, there's people that are suffering out there, and that's not a good thing to rejoice about. After hours, or after Helene, most people around here found out just how much homeowners insurance doesn't cover. I mean, if you look at the jargon on your insurance plan, I mean, how many people have actually read their insurance plans that they have on their homes and their cars and their trucks and all that stuff? Not many. And there's always a loophole. There's always a way out. So I mean, it's just I know people that have had their homes burned down, and but here's the thing. You get written a check if you're lucky, but that doesn't replace the memories. That doesn't replace the yeah, stuff is replaceable, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here that's kind of precious to us. Like the other day, the wife was going through a bunch of stuff that we kept of the kids, the crafts and the school stuff that they did, and a lot of that's, basically you're wiping out memories, things that you don't think of that until you pick it up and like, oh, I remember this, that kind of thing. And to go back to zero is a hard thing to do. And it's so I imagine that a lot of these people are devastated, and there's a lot of people that are not the rich actors and aren't the mansion owners that have lost their homes and have nothing else. So I mean, just kind of keep your prayers and thoughts out there for them. So all right, let's I think we were going to talk about the port strike, but I think if it happens, I think we'll do that probably for next week. See if anything comes out of that. But for now, we're gonna take a look at some freight, and see if we're seeing some elevated rates and volumes. Let's go to DAT real quick. I do promote the 123 low board. It is a great additional tool. 48065 if you want to check it out for free for 30 days. Don't take my word for it. Play with it yourself. It sound good. But let's look at California. California right now is showing, well, let me refresh this. California is showing 1865 in and 1839 out. So not a lot of freight coming out of California. So you're probably going to actually get paid to go in this time, and not, and you'll basically be deadheading Arizona. So what does that do to Arizona? It's going to soften that market. It's going to soften Nevada as well. So if you're going out west, even that I-5 corridor between Washington and California, that could be profitable. That's probably no bueno as well. So the dynamics of California are changing, and that's the thing. I think for the last year, inbound to California was like 1,500-1,800, and outbound was about 3,000, to the point that you're lucky to get $1.30 from the Northeast going out to California. So let's click on California and see see if something's shipping. And a lot of this, like, this is for the 10th, this is for the 13th. Today is the 10th, so this is for today. And you're definitely going to want to, let's click on this Bueno Park, California to, that's, you're going to want to take a look at some maps. You're going to want to take a look at the routing. You're going to want to call this customer to see if they've actually got a load for you coming out. And the AI is going to say, pay a little bit less out of here because there's not as much freight coming out. So just keep that in mind. That's the bad part of AI, is it tells the brokers where to price this stuff at based off the volumes that it can connect with the ELDs. So if there's not a lot of freight coming out, they're going to lower the prices. Seeing $1.98 to go to Oregon, $1.61 to go to Ohio out of Ontario. Let's take a look at that one. That one's for Monday. Of course, it's Friday, so they want to do the odd number game. Cargo Chief's got this at 47, almost $1,000 more. It's been going for $205 a mile. So I mean, just so if we go to inbound, a lot of non-posted rates. Look at that. Not so they want you to price it. But unless you're going to Northern California, but still, that California is going to be a super soft market coming out. So like here, Rochester, New York to Lathrop, California, $1.19 a mile. That picks up today. Barrel, Utah to Long Beach, California. That's a shorty for $700, but $1.55. Minot to LA. Again, you're going to want to know what this is, where it's going, and whether they can unload you, whether even can get there. They had to bulldoze part of the freeway to get the cars out of the way so they get the fire engines out there. So I mean, you're looking at, here's the thing with the spot market, and I guess it's true for contract freight too. But dynamics change with a major event, right? You can have a normal, quote unquote, season of freight, but then all it takes is a hurricane or a couple of major hurricanes in a row, or a big event like what's happening in California to change the dynamics. You might call it a black swan event. And the port strike is a black swan event. Remember a few years ago you had 3 hurricanes in a row that hit Texas? That was a black swan event. That put a bunch of cash in the spot market. Katrina put a bunch of cash in the spot market when that happened. And you're looking at the most devastating fires that California has seen because of the impact and the areas it's going into. So I mean, you have all these dynamics that are going to change what the normal season would be, and keep an eye on those things, and figure out what's going in and what's going out, and you can capitalize on it. You can, or you can avoid it. You know, avoid the pitfalls of going in and out of California because of the volatility that's going to happen because of this. So I mean, it's think about, let's say you're a factory out in California and you have 500 people at your factory and they've all lost their homes. The factory might still be standing, but I mean, what happens in that scenario? I mean, unlike Florida, Florida has hurricanes all the time, so there are things in place. They're kind of more used to that, and you can say California is used to their wildfires, but not at the level that it's burning, entire cities off the coast. 100-year events. Yeah, right, Marty. 100-year events. And that's why you got to be fluid in the spot market. That's why you got to be able to be versatile. That's why you got to be able to improvise. Maybe you've been on this dedicated run that goes from LA to Kansas City for the last 3 years. That's all you've been doing. And all of a sudden it's gone. What do you do? And I'll give you a good point. So for years and years, Wilson Logistics, they take craft from the caves to the plant, back and forth. That's all they do. I know a guy that used to do that. That's all they did for years. Wilson, their names on the side of the yard dogs there at Craft, their names on the side of the yard dogs at the caves, and they had the whole entire operation. They took freight from me because I was running a lot of Craft in the spot market, and then they dropped 20 dry van trailers that they bought from Celadon, and boom, now I can't find those loads anymore. So a major impact in my area. Now, the other day I was driving down the main artery that those trucks go up and down. It was a DHL truck that was hauling those trailers. There was a couple of them, and those trucks look brand new day caps. And so I was heading into DMV. I go in the DMV, and there's a driver. She's obviously, I think she was getting her license, to be honest with you, and she had a Wilson safety vest on. And I asked her, I said, "So did you guys lose the Craft account?" And she's like, "Yeah, something happened, and we just don't have it anymore." Like that's a huge change, and that can happen. Just because you got contract freight doesn't mean that you're safe and secure. The main thing that contract freight does is it creates consistency. So if the market's going bad or if it's going good in the spot market, you're pretty much even the entire time. You're not seeing the highs and lows. But the highs and lows of the spot market also dictate contract rates as well. So, I mean, you can't become complacent. I'm all about running a gravy train for as long as I possibly can. And kind of like what Pam demonstrated early in this video. And ride that till the wheels fall off. But also keep in mind that you got to be fluid. You got to be able to improvise, and you got to know, you got to look for signs that things may not be right in Oz. So, oh man, you guys been commenting like crazy. Let's see. I think we already read that. Isn't there a strip of what was $1 million homes along Florida coast that no insurance company will insure? You can buy those homes for under $300K. Yeah, I mean, you're going to start seeing a lot of that too. Oh, you want to build a house in the hills of California? Well, we ain't going to insure it. And exactly, CFH, I even contacted the state insurance commissioner's office regarding my claim. Unbelievable. Good morning. Have the roads got better? No. Nope. In fact, we went over that. So there's your Google Maps. A lot of yellow, a lot of snow in areas that normally don't get a whole lot of snow that aren't prepared for it. So, and people aren't experiencing driving in it. So just kind of keep that in mind. So, man, you know, California's on fire. Yep. We were just talking about that. And it don't rain here in Texas. Shannon, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Buck, sorry to hear you're having problems. Hopefully a commissioner can get you some help. Buck saying hi to Shannon. Are the fires out? No, they're still burning. In fact, I think there was a fourth one that's popped up. So, does Shannon work anymore? Nope. She's on vacation. OCFH, they finally got the ball rolling. Just took effort that wasn't even required. Dealing with a broker, just like dealing with a broker trying to get attention. CDN Steve, have you tracked Freight Chris or Green Screen's AI rates for a lane versus what your drivers actually book the load on a given day? If not, maybe do it as a test to see accuracy. I don't know what Freight Chris is. What I do though is I do go to market rates here, and let's do. I know this lane, Springfield, Missouri. No, we'll do Joplin. Joplin's a better. Joplin, Missouri to Columbus, Ohio. Are you talking about Cargo Chief? Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, I've got Rate Check, Cargo Chief, and Green Screens here. And of course, green screens, when I see that there's this wider margin, that means that it's a more volatile market. Now, every now and then when I'm putting in rate cons for the like trucking, for like trucking, I will look at some rates and go, huh. And then I'll measure them up. And green screens is, I mean, it's such a wide range. It's easy for it to be accurate. But what I will see is like let's say this 1245 to 1550 in this lane. Let's say there's a natural disaster going on. I might see someone get this for like 1800. Let's say there's a major snowstorm either out of Missouri or out of Ohio. If the driver's good at negotiation, they'll leverage that, and then boom, they're getting it for more than what green screens. But to go from $1.77 to $2.20 a mile, it shows that this is a fairly volatile market. Where Cargo Chief has kind of always been in the middle of what people are actually doing. Now this is based off only 10 reports, so take that with what you will. But to kind of measure it, so we got Joplin to Columbus. So if we go to DAT and go to their tool, their rate check, now I'm back down to the peasant level of 30-day average. See, they're showing 209 a mile, and their range is 1352 to 1529. Whereas 123's got 1245 to 1550. So about the same. And they're at 1484 on the Cargo Chief. If we go to this, they're at 1480. So this tool's been fairly accurate. Now, if you get the high-end version of DAT where you get the 3-day average or the 7-day average, that could be that's obviously more accurate, especially in the volatile market areas. But I know from experience, because I had the 3-day average at one point, because it was donated to me. I really didn't. What I have found was you can look at these averages all day long, but if the market is not paying, it's not paying. If the brokers aren't willing to come up, they're not willing to come up. All this does is tell me it gives me a gauge of what I can probably get away with. And then of course, if you do like let's do Joplin to Denver. Now this is based off of 30-year reports of 2212. Cargo Chiefs got it 1824, and Green Screens has got it from 1838 to 2243. But this one, I'm not afraid to ask for way more because it's Denver. I can be aggressive. Whereas if I'm looking at the logo in the Columbus and it's not like, let's say the Columbus market is fire, then and there's in the Missouri market is not very much outbound, then I really don't have the leverage to be aggressive. So I mean that's kind of what I use these tools for. But yes, I do compare the green screen stuff to what the drivers are doing sometimes. And then if I see someone struggling, I'll call them and say, "Hey man, is there anything I can do for you?" And we've got one person that loves to go from basically Michigan to Texas and back. And leaving a lot of money on the table because they just like to run Texas. And I like to run Texas too, but if it's not profitable for my business, then I'm not going to run it. Or if I do, let's say I really truly want to run that. Well, then I'll try to maximize by using these tools. What's the best way to make money coming in and out of Texas? And so, and what really kind of hurt the Texas market is they stopped paying to go in. It used to be I can get $1,000 to go from Joplin to Dallas, and then I'd get another 700 or 800 to go back to Oklahoma or Missouri, and I made that work. Like during the COVID shutdowns, that's what I did. But now, let's do this here. Let's do Dallas. Yeah, so it's actually paying a little bit better now, which is interesting. But let's reverse this. So if your cost per day is about say 400 or 500, and if you can get 11 down and 8 back up, you're making an average of $1,000 a day. But look at this though. Cargo Chief's got this at 880, so a little bit lower than the 1,000 I could get. But then look at Green Screen, 683 to 913 from Dallas to Joplin. So I mean that's how volatile that market is. And way Texas is, you don't have, and this is based off of 6-year reports, so that means that this number is probably a little bit more accurate than just 10, right? So you really got to know your lanes, you got to know your markets. One of our top earners is Florida, Georgia only, and he makes it work. I've watched it, I've admired it, I've tried to imitate it, and I can't do it. So because you lose patience, right? Yeah, that was reefer freight. Just looked outside, it's snowing there. Just show up some cheap visa workers, right? Lloyd's of London insures high risk crap. Yeah. Freight Chief. I'm not familiar with Freight Chief. There's Cargo Chief. Is that like a different thing? I see Atlanta is yellow. 11 years ago this month is when Atlanta froze. There's a video on YouTube about it. If anyone doesn't remember, I remember that. Really important question, or maybe Steve, you can add a poll. Who uses the peanut butter knife in the jam jar? Do you spoon out the jam with a clean spoon? There's CDN. He's derailing the conversation. If you want to be really unhealthy, buy that combination peanut butter jelly that's in the same jar. That's full of nice chemicals and stuff. If I lived in Michigan, there's no way I'd go to Texas. I'd stay in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. Do 1K a day on less daily miles, and that's and that's where. And to be honest with you, that's where having too much freedom is a problem. Like, there are times when drivers come over here to like trucking. I'm like, okay, a lot of people can handle this amount of freedom because they're going to run where they want and not pay attention to what the truck needs, right? So, and to give you an example, I think there's only one driver I know that was able to choose his own freight as a company driver. He was working for a truck owner at Landstar because he paid attention to what the truck needed for his own job security. Right? He didn't just like, oh, I'm going to run here because I like it. I'm going to run here. This time of year, I'd love to run to Florida and just run in there. But is it going to be profitable? Well, it depends on how you do it. And a lot of company drivers are not going to think like that. They're going to run what they want. A lot of times, when I was a company driver, I go to my dispatcher, hey, just do the Missouri to Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania back to Missouri. Just keep me on that for a minute. He just went, okay. He humored me. And by the third load, it was over with, So, I mean, it's they got to do what's best for the truck and what the customer demands. Right. But what I've seen is that company drivers choosing their own freight in the spot market, they struggle because they're going to do what they want, not what the truck needs. But a lot of people run their own truck that way. Hell, I did for a while. That was part of my issue at Landstar. I just want to run what I want, not what the truck needs. And so, I went to Schneider where that was easier to do. It was easier to stay in the same areas, run the shorter freight and drop and hook and not deal with the agents and the whole 9 yards. I still ran what I wanted. And it was easy. Next thing you know, I'm in the spot market. I'm being challenged, and I stumbled a couple of times. Trust me, this is all from experience, not because I know more than you, it's because I've screwed up more than you. And that's something to keep in mind, right? Since 2008, I've never won a load based off a rate tool estimated average. They always have too wide spread. I meant to say Cargo Chief. Okay. Show some rates, Texas to Michigan round trip. Well, what part of Texas and what part of Michigan? So if we go to here, let's do Dallas to Detroit. Now, I will say this number is not accurate on this outbound to Detroit. Cargo Chief's got this at 31, but this is off of 12 reports. So, but 1786 to 2092. This is about right. This is about what they're paying to come out of Dallas, go to Detroit area. And so when you look at the miles, how many miles is this? 1188. So 2 days running. More likely they're going to make it a 3-day run. So you leave out Monday, probably deliver Wednesday, and then you got to pick up Wednesday and then deliver Friday, right? Late Friday, and hope that you get something out of there. And so you're looking at, you're making so let's see. Let's reverse this here. They're paying a little bit more to go to Texas, but you're never breaking $2 a mile. Not from what I've seen, what this person's doing. And so I did the math, and you're averaging about 450, 500 a day. And that's not enough to sustain with maintenance and everything. We had a truck that went down, new transmission, automated transmission, $30,000. Luckily, it was under warranty. Imagine if it hadn't. So, there's that. Porch is covered in snow. I guess can't go to work today. CDN, what kind of heathen even asked a question like that about the peanut butter jelly? You got to get the natural peanut butter and no jelly. Use honey if you want something sweet because it's natural. And guess what? You don't need no spoon for honey. So there. Here at the Viking Caveman channel, we solve problems, not cause them. Well, for the most part. All right, let's take a look at some snow-ridden areas. Let's take a look at Missouri. And let's sort this by date, pickup date. Let's see what's coming out today. Archie, Missouri, Texas City, Texas. This is going to be a hard run. Yep, you're going through all of the crap. so if you do this lane, if you're brave and you don't think you'll be shut down, you need to be aggressive on your pricing because you're probably going to lose a day or two on this. And that's where these tools become useless in a way because it doesn't account for weather. It's just normal conditions, right? Same thing with this Arnold, Missouri to Russellville, Kentucky. Let's take a look at that one. And, you compare that map to what this looks like. Probably not a good idea. But if you're willing to brave it, be aggressive with your pricing. Because, again, you might be shut down. Oh, this is a straight through delivery, according to this. That's got sketch written all over it. Because you might be able to, it depends on the delivery. If you're delivering, it says 4 p.m. So this load is going to be late. I mean, you'd have to be in Arnold right now picking up and then hope that the roads are clear enough. But according to this, they aren't, right? Kentucky's not showing too bad. So you might get there. I mean, Arnold is St. Louis. I mean, it depends on how bad St. Louis is right now, right? So, was that a smart idea? Probably not. You can sit there and say, well, your ego can sit there and say, well, I'm not scared. I'll do it. Well, okay, but what if you're shut down for 3 days on a $1,000 load? I mean, now what? You made what, $200 a day? Plus the fuel to burn if you have to idle or get a hotel. Blue Springs, Missouri to Albany, Oregon, almost breaking $2 a mile. Let's take a look at that one because that's kind of high for that lane. Is it multiple stop? No, we don't know. It doesn't say. But again, that's probably a hard trek, so you got to pay attention to the weather. They are a little bit lower than what Cargo Chief is showing. But look at green screens, 5,000 to 3,510. That's a huge margin there. Huge margin. That's almost $2,000. So tell me how volatile that is, right? Carthage to Chanute, Kansas. Is that how you say it? Chanute? 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 I'm being goofy here. It's a short 95-mile run, but what are you going to get out of there? Number one. And number two, what do the roads look like? Not too bad. Not too bad, right? But are you going to sit on that load all weekend? 95-mile load, especially if it's freeze protect? Probably not a good idea. Earth City, Missouri to Cincinnati, Ohio. Again, another tough one. That's St. Louis to Cincy. Take a look at the map there. It's like parts of 64 aren't too bad. Well, not 64. If you go that way, if you go 70, then you've got east of St. Louis to deal with. But let's take a look at that. It's in the winter weather advisory area, so you might get away with it. But then what's it going to look like coming out? So, just all these different things. The weather definitely complicates things for you, especially if you're trying to avoid it. It's hard to avoid all the winter weather when you see a map like this, right? Okay, New Mexico's clear. Even Colorado has its issues, right? The Northeast is surprisingly clear, but how much money are you going to make running up there? You'll make money going from, basically PA up to Maine, but coming out of Maine or not. You'll make a little bit. It just depends on how you do it. And of course, the Southeast, where you're going to run Jacksonville to Miami and back. You can make some money doing that, but you're kind of stuck if you're trying to completely avoid winter weather, right? DIY Semi, good morning. Hope you're doing all right. Has anyone poured seafoam where you put oil in your car, van, or pickup with loud engine? I've heard good and bad. Not big on additives. Now there's thanks to CDN, who's normally all business, we have a discussion about the differences between jelly and jam and adverse peanut butter conditions. So let's go with the highest paying load here. Let's do the highest rate. Let's see what the highest paying load is coming out of Missouri today. Look at $4,000. Doesn't pick up till Tuesday out of St. Charles. These are the shopping cart loads. Yep, 7 stops. So probably a lot of tolls on that route. No, not bad. 22.25. Kansas City to Sumner, Washington, 207 a mile. That's probably going to be with that rate. It's probably power equipment. What's the weight on this? Yeah, that's power equipment. It's probably Edgerton to Washington. Here's Jeff City to Raymond, New Hampshire, 3,500, 260 mile. Let's take a look at that one. 9,300 pounds. Doesn't say multiple stops. Picks up at 4 on Tuesday. Delivers, what's that? Thursday at 9:30 a.m. retail. So let's do the highest rate per mile. And we're going to go back to California on this too. 423 a mile to go from North Kansas City to Edison, Nebraska. Let's take a look at that one. Oh, it's hazmat. So there you go. 411 to go to Russellville out of Arnold. Again, that's the low we looked at earlier. Of course, by Monday, all this will be cleared. It's aluminum, so it's scrap metal. I don't like doing scrap metal too often. I used to do it all the time as a company driver and spend a lot of times in tire shops. Hazelwood to Bentonville. Look at this load. It's snowing like crazy, and I need to get this covered. Picks up at 8 a.m. today, so it picks up right now. And you're going to Bentonville, which that's going to be a long trip. But if you can get it done, and let's say you live in Arkansas and you could shut down, that's 1,400. As long as it's not a freezable product, you might be able to sit on it all weekend and then not drive in the snow once you get home. But if we look at that trip, that stretch between Joplin and Bentonville doesn't look good. It's all yellow, and it's all hills through there. So buyer beware. Oh, look. Is this shut down? Yeah, it looks like northbound side shut down on I-49 there. All right, let's take a look at actually we were going to go back to California. Let's do California. Let's do inbound. What's the highest paying low going inbound California? $5,200 to go from Memphis to Watsonville, California. Let's click on that one. That one's for today. 5 extra stops. A little bit of weather, and it looks like it's Northern California, so you're probably in pretty good shape. But then coming out, it's going to be super, super soft because your highest rate area coming out is on fire. That's the highest paying thing. It's got extra stops, so by the time you get that load done, more than likely there's going to be a different dynamic next week. But getting out of Memphis, that's going to be the challenge as well because Memphis is really jacked up. If you zoom in, you've got a lot of red, a lot of yellow. Part of the interstate is shut down, whole 9 yards. So a lot of $1.39, $1.31. So if we do the highest rate per mile into California, posted rate, a lot of stuff out of Nevada. That Memphis one pops back up. Salt Lake, DeBell Gardens, California, 1,600. Normally it's paying about 12,000 to 12. So you got to figure out why they want so much money. Is it hazmat? Is it lift gate? Is it just needs to go? I mean, it's not till Monday. Probably because of where it's going. Bill Gardens, California. Now let's take a look at that on Google Maps. So let's take a look at what traffic flow looks like in California. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. Man, must be 8 o'clock. My YouTube notifications going nuts. Yeah, that whole section, if you zoom in, is all closed. Palisades fire, Eaton fire. So yeah, this road here is closed. Yeah, as you zoom in, man, a lot of these closures, a lot of these neighborhoods are gone. That's the thing. Kenneth fire, I think that's the new one. Because you had the Hearst fire, the Eaton fire, and the Palisades fire. But this Kenneth fire, that's the new one. And I believe there's zero containment on most of them. So I'll be curious to see what this looks like come rush hour. A lot of things going on in the freight world today, in the real world, in our world. There's 205 to go from Colorado to Trinidad. Let's take a look at that one. That's kind of high for coming out of Colorado. Where's Trinidad at? Trinidad's Northern California. There's your load. As long as the weather cooperated, you could probably get away with that one. What's the weight on this? 23,000. So not too bad through the mountains there. And I'm not familiar with this terrain, so I mean, so I could be wrong. It could be a pain in the butt that no one wants to do, and that's why it pays so well. Let's see. Yeah, nothing to write home about. $1.73, $400 to go from Henderson to. This looks like a contracted rate. Picks up at 11. Lives in Jurupa Valley, California. Is that how you say that? Carter's got this at 718, so they're lowering the rate on these. But look where it's going. Again, probably no man's land at this point. All right, let's take a look at reefer freight. T-Bone, good morning. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Here's a YouTube interview with the owner of my freight brokerage talking about pioneering the freight agent movement. There you go. See him putting up his link. We'll check that out. It says Chief Freight, snowflakes getting bigger. Yep. Yeah, it's slowed down a little bit here. But yeah, the cars are definitely buried, except for the one in the carport. Look at reefer, man. Look at that all lit up. They still got more outbound than inbound out of California. Let's go to DAT here real quick. Let's put this on reefer. Yeah, they're showing a little bit more out than in on the reefer side in California. Here they're showing about the same amount more, like percentage wise, not volume wise. Let's take a look. $10 a mile, $74.90 to come out of San Leandro, California, and go to Utah. Man, what's up with that one? Yeah, that's right in the heart of it. Oh no, that's a little bit more north. Yeah, that's north of all where all the fires are. So yeah, you'd probably do all right with that one. Someone booked this and get on YouTube and brag that they got $10 a mile, right? Isn't that the MO? LA to Bryan, Texas. Again, you're going to want to check ahead on these. Ontario to Sparks, 410 a mile, almost $2,000 for 463 miles. Santa Clarita, Aurora to Aurora, Colorado, 378. So some good paying reefer freight coming out of California, but you got to avoid the fires. $9,000 to go from Coachella to Johnstown, New York. Let's take a look at that one. Picks up today. Picks up today at noon. Click on this map here. It's not New York City, so that's good, but you're definitely looking at, it depends on how close to the fires they are. You should be fine on this one. My guess it's probably multiple stop for the good rate. Yeah, because normally this is paying between 5 and 7. Rate check's got at 81. So I don't know. Maybe this is just needs to go. Doesn't have any reefer temp or nothing. Team driven. There you go. That's why. It's a team run. So it's got to go. But still, that's pretty good payday, $9,000 for a husband and wife team. Riverside to Sanger. So some good reefer freights coming out of Cali. As long as you avoid the fires, you're good. And a lot of it's for today, too. Today and tomorrow. This Trucking Life, how's it going? Great show, Steve. Got work to do. Have a great weekend. Everyone get outside or the gym or get active. Snow is just a natural resistance. Goal is 150 minutes a week activity. Well, you could probably, if you're eating all that jelly / jam that you're mixing with your peanut butter spoon, then, you need to burn that. You need to burn that off, right? All right, let's put this to flatbed and a step deck. And then we're going to get out of here. I've been trying to keep the shows down to an hour, but I fail every single time. I'm a failure. Running flatbed in the southeast, you got to be paying attention to this map here. Let's refresh this, see if this has gotten bigger. Nope. I think it was yesterday, I had this up and I had the tab open, and after several hours I'm like decided to refresh it, and this went from a small area to like all the way to the coast. I was like, holy crap. It's a lot of warnings and watches. Just regular rates around here today. Hopefully things will change later today. May post my truck later. Yeah, I mean, that could be a good strategy for sure. But all right, well, 48065 if you want to try the low board for yourself, 123lowboard.com. There are ways on the banner to support the channel. I appreciate everything that you guys do for me, and hopefully I do something for you. So I appreciate everything. And there'll be a lot of shorts coming up, cutting up some of the nuggets from the last couple of live feeds. I've got those in the chamber. I just need to put them out. And then we'll see what next week brings. We're in the January, so we're starting to see year-end inventories but these natural events that have been happening, especially out in California, and then we'll see what the port strike's going to do if they're even going to strike. That's going to change the dynamics of everything. So keep your head on a swivel, keep your eye on the prize, be liquid, be fluid. This Trucking Life. Go check out his channel. He did a really good review on the guitar. I still need to do a live feed with my new guitar, and that might be on the OG channel though. So make sure you guys subscribe to Snorelord OG, where we don't talk just about trucking because trucking's boring sometimes, right? He got this guitar. I wish I had when I was driving because it would have been perfect because it has its own speaker and it's carbon fiber, so you don't have to worry about the wood warping and all that stuff. Good deal. Good deal, right? So with that being said, strength for today over tomorrow. Be profitable, be good. And check out this Trucking Life's channel on that guitar. He's doing the Amazon thing, so support that. I'm doing the Amazon thing too. I've got a link in my description. And with that being said, we'll catch you later. See you next week. Have a good weekend. Peace.